Despite the glitz, some celebrities face legal troubles, from tax fraud to serious crimes. Join us as we unravel the stories behind the glamorous lives, exposing the not-so-golden reality behind the glittering facade. On number 52 is Holmes Elizabeth. Elizabeth Holmes, the former CEO of Theranos, began serving an 11-year prison term on May 30, 2023. 3 charges of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to conduct wire fraud were the basis for Holmes' earlier November sentencing. On number 51 is Todd and Julie Crisley. According to Entertainment Tonight, Julie and Todd Crisley, stars of Crisley Knows Best, were sentenced to prison on January 17, 2023, for their convictions of federal tax fraud. Julie received a sentence of 7 years, while Todd, who received a 12-year sentence, was transported to the Federal Correctional Institution Pensacola in Florida. On number 50 is Weinstein Harvey. Harvey Weinstein, the notorious Hollywood producer, was found guilty of third-degree rape and criminal sexual conduct in March 2020 and was given a 23-year jail sentence. On number 49 is Lou Cosby. 2018 saw Bill Cosby receive a 10-year prison sentence for drugging and molesting Andrea Constant at his house in 2004. Many women came forward with narratives resembling Constant's story. The conviction was reversed in 2021, and Cosby was allowed to leave jail. On number 48 is Loughlin Laurie and Gianulli Mossimo. In the wake of the Varsity Blues incident, Lori Loughlin and her husband, Mossimo Gianulli, entered not guilty pleas to their charges in 2020, but ultimately entered a guilty plea to conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud. While her husband received a 5-month term, Loughlin received a 2-month sentence. On number 46 is Happiness Huffman. After the widely publicized Varsity Blues scandal, Felicity Huffman was imprisoned for 2 weeks. Huffman paid $15,000 to have her daughter's SAT test results changed, and then she entered a guilty plea to fraud and conspiracy. On number 45 is Philip Spector. After being found guilty in 2009 of killing actress Lana Clarkson in the second degree in 2003, Spector was incarcerated in California for a period ranging from 19 years to life. January 2021 marked Spector's passing. On number 44 is Wahlberg Mark. Wahlberg assaulted a man called Johnny Tring in 1988, which led to his incarceration. Wahlberg served 45 days of a 90-day sentence at Deer Island House of Correction after being charged with assault and battery with a deadly weapon and possession of a prohibited substance. Tring openly expressed his forgiveness to Wahlberg for the incident and filed a petition to have the incident expunged from his record. Wahlberg, who is now well known for his numerous acting roles, was 16 years old when he committed the crime. On number 43 is Ingrid Downey Jr. RDJ faced several formidable foes before transforming into Iron Man. He was given a 3-year prison sentence in 1999 for a string of drug-related offenses, including arrests, and for not following court orders. He was freed early in August 2000, having spent little more than a year in prison. After being released from prison, he experimented with cocaine, but in 2005, he moved over his difficult background to have a family and develop into the incredible actor we know today. On number 42 is Wesley Phillips. After being found guilty in February 2008 on 3 misdemeanor counts of failing to file federal tax returns, Snipes was imprisoned for 3 years. His release from federal prison occurred in April 2013, having reported in December 2010. Actor Snipes has kept himself occupied ever since. On number 41 is Alan Tim. In 1978, Alan was detained for cocaine trafficking before he rose to fame as everyone's favorite dad on Home Improvement. Despite the possibility of life in jail, he only received 5 years in prison for disclosing the identities of 21 of his associates in the narcotics trade. Allen never looked back, and as of May 2021, the final season of the ABC comedy Last Man Standing concluded with him playing Mike Baxter. On number 40 is Martha Stewart was imprisoned for 5 months after lying to the federal government about declining stock sales in 2000. Since her release in March 2005, she has maintained her domestic diva image despite her legal issues. Nonetheless, Stewart has acknowledged that she is experiencing some difficulties with love. On number 39 is It. It was arrested in Los Angeles on narcotics charges and subsequently sentenced to 11 months in jail in October 2010 for violating federal probation. After being freed in September 2011, he spent a brief period of time living in a halfway home. He was previously arrested in 2009 for attempting to purchase unregistered firearms and silencers from federal undercover investigators, and he spent 7 months in an Arkansas prison. 2021 saw T.I. and Tiny Harris, his spouse, were charged with sexual assault. The pair would not be prosecuted in September of the same year over a 2005 sexual assault case. On number 38 is Portwood Amber. Following a probation violation related to felony narcotics possession charges in 2011, Portwood was given a 5-year prison sentence in June 2012. She was released early in November 2013 after serving little over a year of the sentence. Although Portwood lost her father, who she claims was crucial to her recovery, she seemed to be doing well following her release. On number 37 is Chris Brown. After being expelled from a court-appointed treatment facility for breaking his probation for attacking Rihanna by beating a guy outside a hotel in Washington, D.C., in 2013, Brown was given a 131-day prison sentence. Having completed just 3 weeks of his sentence, he was freed in June 2014. Brown has returned to the press in recent times. He is being sued in Florida for allegedly drugging and raping a lady. On number 36 is Laurel H. Hill was freed from prison in October 2013 after serving a 3-month sentence for tax evasion. The performer resumed her career right away, releasing a song the night before she was released from prison. On number 35 is Small Wayne. After an unauthorized firearm was discovered on Lil Wayne's tour bus in 2007, he was given a 1-year prison sentence in 2010. Before being freed from prison after serving 8 months, he wrote a book which he published in January 2012. On number 34 is Teresa DeSico. The Judices had to serve a lengthy prison sentence while they were together. Teresa was incarcerated for 11 months due to tax fraud. Despite receiving a 15-month sentence, she was freed early in December 2015. But the legal problems didn't end there. On number 33 is Judy's Joe. Joe started serving his 41-month prison sentence following the death of his ex-wife. However, Judy's was effectively deported in October 2018 when he received an order to return to Italy. Since then, he has been residing in Italy. On number 32 is Lee Abby Miller. Abby Lee Miller rose to fame as the determined owner of a dance company on the reality TV series Dance Moms. She was charged in October 2015 with bankruptcy fraud for concealing her assets and customs fraud for failing to declare $120,000 in cash when she returned to the United States from an Australia masterclass tour. She entered a guilty plea to bankruptcy fraud the following June, and in May of 2017, she was given a year and a day's imprisonment. A year later, Miller was freed. On number 31 is Mac Allison. Known for her performances in the television series Smallville and Wilfred, Allison Mack was embroiled in one of the more bizarre celebrity-related criminal events. Mack belonged to a marketing firm named NXIVM, which advertised itself as providing seminars for professional growth. It was actually a cover for a gang involved in sex trafficking. Mack and many others were charged with federal sex trafficking and racketeering in 2018. In June 2021, she entered a guilty plea and received a 3-year jail sentence. On number 30 is Amy Lopez. Amy Lohan, well known for her roles in the television series Melrose Place, the films Crybaby and School Ties, among others, gained notoriety in June 2010 when, while speeding on a New Jersey residential street, she struck and killed a passenger in another vehicle. Her blood alcohol content was about 3 times the permitted amount. Following her conviction in November 2012 for vehicular homicide and assault by vehicle, Lohan was sentenced to 3 years in state prison in February of that same year. June 2015 saw her parole release. After prosecutors protested that the first court in Lohan's case had not followed minimum sentencing guidelines, the original judge resentenced Lohan to an extra 8 years in state prison in September 2020. Until she completes her 4 years of service, she will not be eligible for parole. On number 29 is Douglas Cameron. Cameron Douglas, a member of one of Hollywood's greatest performing families and the grandson of Kirk Douglas and Michael Douglas, who starred in the movies Wonder Boys and The Runner, entered a guilty plea to heroin possession and drug distribution conspiracy in January 2010. He received a 5-year prison sentence. Douglas continued to have problems when he was incarcerated. After entering a guilty plea to cocaine possession in October 2011, he received an additional 4.5 years in prison. His release date was August of 2016. On number 28 is Dutton Charles. Charles Dutton was convicted of manslaughter in 1967 and given a 5-year jail sentence before his acting career took off. You may be familiar with him from his performances on the TV show Rock and the films The Piano Lesson and Get on the Bus. He spent 20 months on parole. Dutton was arrested for robbery and firearms charges while he was on parole, and he was sent back to jail to serve out his remaining time. On number 27 is Charles Berry. Chuck Berry, who had successes like Maybelline and Roll Over Beethoven, was one of the pioneers of rock and roll, but he had a turbulent personal life. At the age of 18, he was found guilty of armed robbery in 1944 and given a 10-year prison sentence, which he served for 3 years. Following the height of his fame, he was arrested in December 1959 for having sex with a 14-year-old prostitute he had driven from Mexico to St. Louis in violation of the Mann Act. Berry received a 3-year prison sentence. After serving for 20 months, he was freed in October 1963. He was convicted of tax evasion in 1979 and sentenced to 4 months in prison plus community service after failing to disclose his cash income. On number 26 is The Brat. Famous for Bad Boys and Big Mama's House, Da Brat is an actress and producer. In August 2007, at a nightclub in the Atlanta region, she hit a woman in the face with a bottle. She received a 3-year prison sentence. After a 21-month jail sentence, she was freed in May 2010. On number 25 is Trey O'Danny. The muscular, tattooed actor is well known to viewers of TV and film from his roles as a frequently menacing character in shows like Desperado, Heat, Con Air, Breaking Bad, Spy Kids, and Sons of Anarchy. Trago spent 11 years in prison, including San Quentin, for charges including armed robbery, assault, and various drug offenses. After doing time in jail, he changed his ways, graduated to become a drug counselor, and began working as an extra in movies that helped begin his career. On number 24 is DMX. Rapper DMX, also known as Earl Simmons, thought he had been arrested at least 30 times before he passed away from a drug overdose in 2021. Theft, robbery, possession of weapons, drug possession, cruelty to animals. careless and unlicensed driving, and parole violations were among the allegations. He was accused of 14 charges of tax fraud in July 2017. He was given a one-year prison sentence in March 2018 and was freed 10 months later. On number 23 is King Don. Before he was even famous, the colourful boxing promoter who'd put on contests for fighters like Mike Tyson, Joe Frazier, and Muhammad Ali had been afoul of the law. He was found guilty of first-degree manslaughter in 1967 after killing an employee with a pistol whip, stomping, and kicks. King barely served 4 years of his 1 to 20 years sentence before being granted parole. On number 22 is Dwayne Chapman. He is best known to you from reality television as a bounty hunter who made headlines by apprehending Andrew Luster, the heir apparent to the Max Factor Cosmetics fortune, who was on the run. Chapman had his own run-ins with the law even before that. He was waiting in a getaway car in 1976 when his friend opened fire on a drug dealer during a fight, killing him. Dodd received a 5-year prison sentence after being convicted guilty of first-degree murder. He served 18 months before being released. On number 21 is Bone and Flesh. Stanley Howes, better known by his stage name Flesh and Bone, is a Grammy Award-winning rapper with the group Bone Thugs and Harmony. He entered a guilty plea to assault with a deadly weapon and probation violation in September 2000. After receiving a 12-year prison sentence, Flesh and Bone was freed in July 2008. On number 20 is Gary Sparks. The song Rock and Roll Part 2, which was often played at sporting events, became the biggest hit for English glam rocker Gary Glitter, born Paul Francis Gadd, in the United States during the early 1970s. His reputation was permanently damaged by multiple sex assault incidents. He was given a 4-month prison sentence in England in 1999 for downloading pictures of child pornography. After 7 years, he was found guilty in Vietnam of performing lewd acts on girls between the ages of 10 and 11, and he received a 3-year prison sentence. He was found guilty in England in February 2015 of one crime of having intercourse with a girl under the age of 13, 4 charges of indecent assault, and 1 act of attempted rape. He received a 16-year prison sentence. Although he is still behind bars, he may be released early this year, according to sources. On number 19 is Ja Rule. This Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter, whose real name is Jeffrey Bruce Atkins and who starred in the film The Fast and the Furious, admitted to having an unlicensed firearm in December 2010 and was given a 2-year sentence in state jail. In addition, Ja Rule received a term of 28 months in federal jail for tax evasion, which involved withholding taxes on earnings exceeding $3 million. On number 18 is Brown James. Offstage, the godfather of soul, had his fair share of run-ins with the authorities. James Brown was one of the most exciting performers in musical history, known for hits like I Got You, I Feel Good, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, Part 1, and Living in America. Following a potentially fatal altercation at an insurance conference in 1988, during which Brown displayed a revolver, Brown was found guilty of assault, failing to stop for a police officer, resisting arrest, possessing a handgun, and possession of drugs. He received a 6 to 1/2 year prison sentence. He completed a 10-month work release program and a 15-month jail sentence. On parole since 1991. On number 17 is Jamie O'Brien. Waylett, a former British actor, gained notoriety for his portrayal of the cruel Vincent Crabbe in 6 of the 8 Harry Potter movies. His life hasn't been as spectacular off-camera. Waylett received a 2-year term for violent disorder and a 1-year sentence for handling stolen items in March 2012. The sentences had to be read aloud in parallel. On number 16 is G.A. Fogel. Perhaps you are familiar with Jared Fogle, the former overweight spokesperson for the Subway sandwich restaurant, who shed about 250 pounds, primarily as a result of eating Subway sandwiches twice a day. Fogle entered a guilty plea in November 2015 to charges of having child pornography on his person and paying for sex with minors. He was given a sentence of 15 years and 8 months in federal prison. In order to be eligible for parole, he must complete at least 13 years of his sentence. March 2029 is the earliest conceivable date of his release. On number 15 is Bakker Jim. Established by televangelist and talk show host Jim Bakker, the Praise the Lord, PTO, Ministries brought in around $160 million annually at its peak. Following the revelation that he had sex with a 21-year-old woman and paid her hush money, he resigned from PTL. Bakker was charged with conspiracy, mail fraud, and wire fraud in 1988. His initial 45-year prison term was subsequently lowered to 8 years. 1994 saw Bakker's release from prison. On number 14 is Joe Unique. In 2019, Joe Exotic was found guilty on 2 counts of attempted murder for hire after attempting to kill Carol Baskin, an animal activist and vocal opponent of Exotic's business practices. Joe Exotic rose to fame after being the focus of the Netflix documentary series Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. In addition, he was found guilty on 17 counts of tiger killing and breeding, and he received a 22-year federal jail sentence. On number 13 is Forte John. John Forte had the credentials to excel in music, Fugees Associate, Wyclef Jean collaborations, as well as the educational background, Phillips Exeter Academy, New York University. However, he broke the law. In 2001, Forte was found guilty of possessing 31 pounds of liquid cocaine with the intent to distribute it, and he was given a mandatory minimum term. President George W. Bush commuted his sentence on November 24, 2008, with the assistance of Utah Senator Orrin Hatch. He was freed the following month. On number 12 is Khan Judy, the lively English actress who'd passed away in 2015, will be most known for saying, "Sock it to me," on an episode of the comedy TV show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, which resulted in her getting hit with a pie or drenched in water. Khan was given a rough time by British authorities in 1986 after she was detained at London's Heathrow Airport and found guilty of possessing drugs. After serving her 3-month jail sentence, she was freed after 2 months. On number 11 is Jeremy Assange. In an incident known as WikiLeaks, activist publisher Julian Assange published private U.S. government documents about the 2016 Democratic National Convention, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and other topics. Sweden issued an international arrest order for Assange for sexual assault in November 2010. After turning himself in to the police in London, he was given bail while his case for extradition to Sweden was being heard. After Ecuador gave him shelter, he resided in the country's London embassy from 2012 till 2019. The Swedish case was dropped due to insufficient proof. 2019 saw the Ecuadorian government withdraw its sanctuary, leading to Assange's arrest for violating the Bail Act and his subsequent 50-week prison sentence. In September 2019, his sentence to prison was up. Nevertheless, in spite of requests for his release, he is still incarcerated in London. On number 10 is Tiny Kim. More than 6 million copies of rapper and singer-songwriter Lil' Kim's debut album have been sold worldwide. Lil' Kim was born Kimberly Denise Jones, but in her personal life, she experienced legal issues. She was found guilty in July 2005 of 3 counts of conspiracy and 1 count of perjury for misrepresenting a shooting outside a Manhattan radio station in 2001 to a federal grand jury. The sentence for Lohan was 1 year and 1 day in federal prison. The publication date was July 2006. On number 09 is Not Brancato. In The Bronx Tale, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Chaz Palminteri were among the many prominent actors. Playing the son of a New York City bus driver who is tempted to pursue a life in organized crime, young Lilo Brancato was up to the challenge. Furthermore, he made an appearance in the mob drama The Sopranos. Sadly for Brancato, art was copied by life. He was detained in December 2005 and accused of killing an off-duty police officer in the second degree as he and an accomplice were breaking into a house. Brancato spent 3 years in custody pending his trial. A jury found him guilty of first-degree burglary attempt, but not guilty of murder in December 2008. A month afterward, he received a 10-year prison sentence. On New Year's Eve 2013, he was set free. On number 08 is Suge Marian Knight. Music industry executive Marian Suge Knight is also the CEO and co-founder of Death Row Records, which put out albums for artists including MC Hammer, Snoop Dogg, Tupac Shakur, and Dr. Dre. For attacking a member of a rival gang in 1997, Knight received a 9-year prison sentence. He was released in 2001. He was sent back to prison for breaking his parole 2 years later, following an altercation with a parking lot attendant. One of the two guys was killed when Knight ran over him in a parking lot in January 2015. He was accused of hit and run, attempted murder, and murder. Knight entered a plea of not guilty to voluntary manslaughter in 2018 and was given a 28-year jail sentence. His parole eligibility is not available until July 2037. On number 07 is MC Emery. Rapper Meek Mill, real name Robert Rameek Williams, was sentenced to 11 to 23 months in county jail in Philadelphia after being found guilty in 2008 of drug trafficking and gun possession. After being freed in less than 6 months, he was put on probation for 5 years, which he broke, and in November 2017, he was given a term of 2 to 4 years in state prison. A Pennsylvania appeals court reversed Mill's conviction 3 months after he was freed in April 2018, pending an appeal. Citing fresh information that cast doubt on the reliability of the officer who had testified against him during his initial trial, the district attorney for Philadelphia decided against retrying his case. On number 06 is Jace Michael. Prominent actor Michael Jace has starred in films such as The Replacements, The Shield, State of Play, and The Fan. In 2014, Jace fatally shot his wife in front of their 2 children, who are 5 and 8 years old. After years of what she claimed to be domestic violence, she had lately asked for a divorce from him. After being found guilty of second-degree murder in 2016, Jace received a 40-year to life sentence. On number 05 is Michael Tyson. At the age of 20, Mike Tyson became the youngest person to win a heavyweight boxing title and one of the most formidable and strong boxers in history. In March 1992, Tyson was found guilty of both rape and criminal deviant conduct and was given a concurrent 10-year prison sentence for each crime. Tyson also starred as himself in the comedic hit The Hangover. The next 4 years of his sentence were suspended by the judge. On number 04 is Joe Simpson. One of the all-time best running backs and winner of the Heisman Trophy, O.J. Simpson gave up playing football professionally to pursue a career in acting. During one of the most well-known trials of the time, he was found not guilty in 1995 of killing Ron Goldman and his own wife, Nicole Brown Simpson. Sports memorabilia that Simpson claimed had been stolen from him was taken from his hotel room in Las Vegas in September 2007 by Simpson and 3 other individuals. After his arrest, he was accused with robbery, kidnapping, assault, criminal conspiracy, and using a lethal weapon. Simpson was found guilty on all counts in October 2008 and given a prison term ranging from 9 to 33 years. In October 2017, he was freed from prison having served 9 years. On number 03 is R. Kelly. Over 75 million recordings have been sold globally by Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter and record producer R. Kelly. He was found guilty of 9 charges in September 2021 by a federal jury in New York, including racketeering, kidnapping, bribery, sex trafficking, and violating the Mann Act. He received a 30-year jail sentence in June 2022. Kelly was found guilty in Chicago on 6 federal counts of child pornography in September of 2022. February 2023 is the planned month of sentencing. Next up on number 02 is Remy Ma. Only 6 female rappers have ever reached the top of the Billboard Hot 100 chart, including Remy Ma. She was found guilty of purposeful assault in 2008 after shooting an abdomen of a lady. She received an 8-year prison sentence. Ma completed her 6-year sentence and was freed in July 2014. Last but not the least on number 01 is Ricardo Medina Jr. Ricardo Medina Jr. gained notoriety as the Red Power Ranger in Power Rangers Wild Force and Power Rangers Samurai. After a fight, he fatally attacked his roommate with a sword in January 2015. After being charged with first-degree murder at first, Medina Jr. entered a guilty plea to voluntary manslaughter in 2017. After completing 3 of the 6 years he was condemned to, he was freed in November 2020. It's a sobering reminder that the pursuit of fame and fortune can come at a hefty price. These legal troubles expose the vulnerabilities and imperfections of even the most celebrated individuals. Whether it's a fall from grace due to financial misconduct or a heinous crime, the consequences are real, and the impact is felt not only by the celebrities themselves, but also by their fans. So, the next time we find ourselves mesmerized by the glitz and glamour, let's remember that behind the dazzling smiles and luxurious lifestyles, there might be a darker narrative. Because in the world of fame, what glitters isn't always gold. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more eye-opening insights into the lives of the rich and famous. Until next time, stay curious.